I'm very excited about our next speaker here being with us and making the flight from Washington State late last night. Anusua Trivedi is a data scientist at the Microsoft President's office, that's Brad Smith's office, and she works in AI for Good on that team and is primarily responsible for forging partnerships for forming collaborations between Microsoft and universities and innovative companies to address some of the world's biggest problems and challenges. She and her team at Microsoft's industrial and research partners use computer vision, natural language processing, and signals processing to accomplish these things. They solve and automate the business needs as well as some of the world's most pressing problems in these different areas. She specifically works on advanced deep learning and artificial intelligence applications. Prior to joining Microsoft, she was a data scientist at the Texas Advanced Computing Center in Austin. It's a supercomputing center, and there she developed algorithms for implementing big data on high-performance computers. As a data scientist with the TACC, she developed software and methods to explore, analyze, as well as visualize clinical and biological big data, including genomics, neuroimaging, electronic medical records. She obtained a master's degree in computer science from the University of Utah. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Anusua Trivedi.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Stephen, for giving me the opportunity. I'm super excited. I flew in late last night, so please excuse my sleep deprivation. I left a one-year-old behind. And I'm flying out tonight. But extremely pleased to be part of this meeting. I learned so much. I'm very much looking forward to sharing this video with my whole team. I am part of the AI for Good Research Lab. This is an initiative which started out as a part of Healthcare Next. Healthcare Next is a team led by Peter Lee, our CVP in MSR, and this is an initiative started by our CEO, Satya. We recognize that we cannot any longer ignore healthcare, the influence of technology is having in healthcare, and ultimately, 2 years back, we decided to create a team out of it. We have professionals, MDs and experts like you working full-time for us in the healthcare, and we are always open to collaborations. So a little bit about my team. We are the data science team who works on developing the artificial intelligence model, the artificial intelligence and the deep models which drives this whole AI for Good effort. As you can see, there are a certain 5 different verticals that we are targeting. AI for humanitarian actions. For example, one of my projects is in collaboration with UN to figure out how AI can help solve war and peace in Syria. AI for Earth is a big program. It's a $5 billion program. We give out grants to different universities, and we try to solve all our challenges with our environment, the global warming and those kind of stuff. AI for accessibility, obviously healthcare is very closely binded. One of our projects is Answer ALS, and we try to figure out how we can use AI for accessibility. AI for Health is an initiative which is mostly focused around Microsoft research, so it's mostly academic, and we also partner with innovative companies like Startup, and I will show you the results of our first initiative with one of such successful companies. Another thing which we recently started is AI for Cultural Heritage, how AI can help you preserve, and AR and VR can help in those areas. So basically, I'll talk about how we went. So diabetic retinopathy is one of the problems we are working on. There is a lot of projects open around ophthalmology. We're working on many glaucoma-related problems and stuff. So we will see. Today I'll only focus on diabetic retinopathy. So the first question we might ask is, why do we need an automated screening system? I think it has been answered already, but not enough providers in developing nations, and if we can actually bring the diagnostics into telemedicine, we can help many people. So the project goal that we started with was to construct a low-cost, easy-to-use AI-enhanced screening system. And if we can use smart IoTs to actually embed the system into the end products and help improve telemedicine. And obviously, there is a clinical evaluation portion of it where you try to evaluate the efficacy of the APIs or the algorithms that you are generating. I am a computer scientist, so I will take a completely different approach. I will start from computer vision. That's my area of research. When I was graduating in 2009, people were like, why computer vision? It's kind of dead. NVIDIA have not released GPU at that point of time, so the deep neural networks have not paced up. But it always actually excited me, that field of research. So if you already know about this, please bear with me if I just go through the basics. So in computer vision, there are 4 different studies that you are actually focused on. One is image classification, where you are trying to see if an object that you want to see is present there or not. For example, if for ophthalmology, it could be like if my lesions are present and not. That is a classification problem. A detection is if there is a lesion, where is it? Exactly which position, what are the coordinates of the lesion that I'm trying to look at. For segmentation, it will be what are the pixels that are getting affected so that I can find the whole structure. So it's not a localization problem anymore. Object detection is a localization problem. Here you're trying to broaden up and try to see what are the whole structure of your affected regions. And then obviously there is image similarity where you're trying to see, okay, this is my problematic areas. What are the other problematic areas very similar to this? So these are the 4 basic concepts of computer vision, which people are using now day to day in solving healthcare using AI algorithms. So computer vision have been deeply influenced by deep learning. Deep learning is nothing new. It have been existing since 1989, and Fukushima introduced the neocognitron. And people were like, yeah, it's great, but it was super slow, and people just couldn't just get it to work in a day-to-day basis. But with the advent of big data, that is good availability of data, because these large neural networks need a lot of data to get trained, and obviously GPU compute, right? NVIDIA came up with CUDA software, which was able to actually accelerate the training of such massive data sets on a GPU. GPU was first invented just for gaming. But they were able to improve the CUDA platform, the CUDA software, to show that these deep neural networks could be compressed and run on these GPUs to have accelerated performance without actually reducing your accuracy. So just to get an idea around how we work around this. This is a very simple example of a standard convolution neural networks. Convolution neural networks are only target classifications, right? The first type of computer vision task that I talk about. But this is the most generic application that you see. There are other advanced things that you can build on top of it, for example, segmentation, object detection. But at the end of the day, you always run a classification model where you're trying to predict your labels, your features that you're trying to understand. So for convolution neural networks, you always input an image, and then there are some low-level features that you're learning. So you're learning about edges, color, and then as you proceed towards the end of the neural network, the middle level is actually combining these low-level features and building high-level features. For example, you combine colors and edges to create the ear of the cat. And then as you go towards the bottom, you combine these high-level features to create object parts. And then at the end, when you are in the fully connected layers, you actually try to do the complex objects and scenes and give out your predicted labels. So imagine this, that you have this whole thing, this enormous amount of knowledge. Can you build it to a specific domain, bring this to a specific domain? Right? It's very hard because of the low availability of data. This data set that I'm showing you, it's on ImageNet. It's 1 million images and 1,000 categories that it's affecting. So comes in transfer learning. Transfer learning is a concept where you try, it's a computer science concept, where you're trying to actually bring knowledge from a very generic domain to a very specific domain, right? So if you have this whole neural network trained on ImageNet, you can actually retrain it on a very small specific ImageNet without even having any large amount of data sets. You can just train the last fully connected layer and get your results out. Will it be a good accuracy? No. But will you get some accuracy, which is comparable to humans? Yes. But if you want a harder, like a better result, and you have a medium-sized data set, this is the category where most of our healthcare applications fall in, then you can decide, as a data scientist, you can decide which are the layers you want to fix. For example, I most of the time fix the top 2 convolution layers, which gives you colors and edges. Because the orange fluorescent dye is the same as the orange color that coming from ImageNet generic data set. So how can we take a generic information and build on top of it to apply it to a specific domain is what transfer learning has opened up. And that's why computer vision is so successful. It's a very standard RGB technique that you're trying to apply. So applying the transfer learning and fine-tuning technique, we can take some fundus images and retrain our model, fixing some of the layers and retraining some of the layers to get a good enough accuracy. But that's not enough. I mean, it's okay to get, I remember Dell said the generative results and then the specialist, retinal specialist results. This models will, the one that I was talking about, right? That model will never achieve a specialist result. It will be just a generative. So how can we build to reach a specialist level so that we can improve telemedicine through that? So Microsoft Air platform, we are actually taking data, we have some components, and we have some open models which you can use to build your apps and data services. So this is the whole concept of the Microsoft platform, where we have ML-assisted data preps. We have some open development solutions which you can bring in. You have target computes which we give out to you. You can deploy it as an API or use IoT toolkits to put it onto your devices. And you can do different versions of model management. I personally love using the data science VM. This allows me to create APIs, give it to my collaborators and stuff like that. This is mostly a virtual machine where all your deep neural network packages and CUDA and everything comes installed. Once you open up an Azure account, we give you $200 free credit to just run this GPU computes for everybody, whoever is opening up. So there is, for our specific problem that I'm going to talk about, we tried to use image segmentation, DR lesion detection, and some classification. So we have all 3 different models running in a pipeline. And what we did was we take a source image, we run some neural network models, for example, UNet for segmentation, for actually segmenting what are the problems. We do some object detection models. These are pre-annotating the images even before we send it to our classification algorithm, okay? So if this is a platform and these models are available through our platform, the classification model, not the UNet and the lesion detection, because that is a custom one that we did with our partners. But if you just want to run your classification algorithms, that's openly available and trained through our platform. Comes Iris. Iris is a Microsoft partner. They were the winner of the Microsoft Health Innovation Award in 2017. They provided us with the data. So Iris is led by Dr. Sunil Gupta, and he have been collecting patient data since the past 30 years. And they have been trying to create an automated system, which recently got FDA approval last month. So right now they are working with Microsoft Azure to create an FDA-approved data center in Doha so that they can run the AI algorithms over there. So the whole idea is the model that we trained on was on 200K actual patient data sets. We also compared the model and our data enhancing techniques compared to the MESSIDOR2 data sets. And it's a work in submission in one of the leading clinical journals. We haven't heard back yet, but hopefully sometime soon. So whatever data that I'm talking about, once the paper is published, we give out a GitHub repository and all the trained models associated with it so that it's open for everybody to use. So this is the DR screening evaluation from the Iris data set. We just took, for the paper, we just took a sample of 10,600 images, out of which we kept 2,657 for the validation. If you see the lower curves, that for If you see the lower curve, that's for the moderate to worse DR only, and the upper curve is for severe to worse DR. And as you can see, the AUC is pretty high. This is because, and we are not publishing this for the annotated images because it's a work in submission. So we have even higher results with the pre-annotated, the segmented images, where we are actually focusing on the vasculature through segmentation technique, we are pre-annotated. So another place where we have this very similar model implemented is in India, where we partner with LV Prasad Eye Institute and Forus Health. We actually were able to jointly develop a model, and we were able to compress this model and put it inside the camera for screening. For example, Forus Health and LV Prasad jointly do eye camps in India. So now there are like volunteers who go on their two-wheelers carrying this camera. It is a pretty portable fundus image camera, and the model is actually running on the camera. I mean, even when I fly back to India, I live in one of the biggest cities, but the internet connection is horrible. So imagine how it will be when you are actually in a rural area. People barely get to go and see eye camp. So that's, I think, is the success of telemedicine, where you are going and you're screening people to say, hey, this population is at risk, and this is maybe in the priority queue. That acts as an AI assistant for the doctors to prioritize where the specialists are like really rare to get access to. So such telemedicine applications can really help. This is a model which have been in production, and multiple iCamps have been had through this model. We touched 2 million patients this year. So I'm hoping we can, going forward, build on top of this and keep on improving through other collaborations. And with that, I'll open it up for questions. Any question? Yes.
I was going to say this question for Dr. Graham. Maybe I shouldn't ask it right now because it's a monetization question. What business are you in with respect to developing AI in this?
AI in, sorry?
AI with respect to medicine. What business are you in?
So we are a research lab, as I said, right? We are a research lab. Microsoft Research Lab is an academic institution. We do not make money. So the first time the recession hits, we'll be all to go, right? So we do not essentially make any money for Microsoft. So whatever we do, we try to open source and give back to the community. So that's where the AI for healthcare is right now for us. So whatever we do, we try to make the data open source, the models open source, the platforms open source. So that's where we stand. Now, we collaborate with partners who have the FDA clearance, and they are charging money for it. But you can take up the components that we make open source and start building on your own. And we will always be happy to collaborate with universities, with academicians, and with doctors to help you give back to the community. Does that answer your question?
Important, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
So, quick question. So, you all do provide, and this is excellent, I think, but I don't know how in the world you cover that much material in that short period of time. How much technical assistance do you provide when, when a entity, whether it's a small company or whether it's public sector, trying to incorporate your deep learning into certain applications, like in particular telehealth applications? Because it's clear to me that this is not just applicable to these images. It's applicable to the speech, sound, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So I just want to know how much technical assistance does Microsoft provide?
Yeah, so we have a very dedicated, we are really, very, very big. The person who are seeing is the last line of defense who have developed this and just given it out to the whole company. And there are work streams that you need to go through. For example, first is the sales and the fields. You will first having an account manager who will help you get set up. Then comes the technical sales, who will be knowledgeable person about our model, and they'll try to implement it with your data. Once that fails, which most most of the time fails. So then it comes to us, because ultimately I am the person who have developed the model, so I know what is the pre-processing that is of the data that is needed at your end to make the model work specifically for you. And that is the whole pipeline which builds up the whole thing. Some of the time, it's only infrastructure help that you need. So that's the massive 80% gone down there. Rest of the 10% could be solved by the technical sense. But the last 10% of the 100% thing comes to us. And that's where we jointly collaborate with academicians, with startups, to build some innovative knowledge on your specific data set. And it might be that coming to your data set, I might have to get a whole new algorithm designed just specifically for you.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you.
Last question.
Hi, thank you for a wonderful presentation. I wanted you to go over again about the research lab and you said it was a free source, right? So suppose I am a startup company, we're about to do something, but I wanted to know where to go.
Yeah.
To get to that.
Search for Microsoft Healthcare Next. There is a website, and it takes you to our active projects, and you can find GitHubs in there. This one is still a work in submission. Once we get it published, we'll upload everything to that website,
So Microsoft
including,
Healthcare Next?
yes, Next, N-E-X-T.
NEX.
Thank you. Any question?